This is Ben McGahee with Yamie Chess. I'm going to be your math teacher today. Yamie Chess is the math learning aid based on classic chess that helps students in math and science education for school. In this lesson, we will learn about comparing and determining measurements amongst two objects, and we'll also determine the appropriate measurement for a single object given multiple choice answers. So let's take a look at the first question on the left. We have a bowling ball and a football. So I imagine many of you have probably been bowling or have played football or at least have watched it on TV or seen a friend do these activities before. And so just from your experience, which of these objects is heavier or which one weighs the most? The bowling ball or the football? So we would probably say that the bowling ball would weigh the most, right? Because we have to roll the ball when we do bowling, and it's pretty heavy when we hold it in our hand. And then with the football, it's a lot lighter because we have to throw the ball to a receiver. A quarterback has to throw it to a receiver to catch it. So we would say that the bowling ball is definitely the heavier object of the two. And now we go to our second pair of objects. And this question asks, who is the shortest? Which chess piece is the shortest? So which one is the smaller in height? So we have the pawn, and then we also have the king. So we could just draw a line from the bottom to the top of the object just to kind of give us a feel, of how high, or how tall each of these chess pieces are. So the pawn would be this height, and then with the king would be way up here. It's definitely taller than the pawn. So the piece that is the shortest would be the pawn. And just to remember when you're playing chess, that the pawn is not only the shortest piece on the board, but it's the piece that has the least value, and it's only worth 1 point. And then the king is the most valuable piece on the board, and it's also the tallest piece as well. So it's just something to keep in mind when you play chess. Okay, so we have a third question to the far right. It asks, what is an appropriate height for a 21-year-old male? So this is kind of just an average, 21-year-old male. It could be in college, studying, math or science, engineering. And so we have 4 answer choices here. We have 2 feet, 3.5 feet, 4 feet, 6 feet. So what would be an appropriate height for a 21-year-old male? So looking at these answer choices, 2 feet is, pretty small. He'd probably be, a little kid at that time. And also 3.5 feet, still fairly young in elementary school. And then when you get to 4 feet, sure there probably are some 21-year-old males that are 4 feet if they come from a very short family, and but for average, I would say that 6 feet would probably be appropriate height for a 21-year-old male if we're looking at the average height. So this would probably be a good estimation for a 21-year-old male, 6 feet. tall. So the average height of a male, at least in the United States, is about 5'9", 5'10", but 6 feet, is we round up. So 5 feet 10 inches would be average height. So only 2 inches away from 6 feet. Okay, so since we have done those three questions and comparing, determining measurements for different objects, what we're going to do now is take a look at some of the problems you can try on your own. We have 3 problems here to work on, and all of them are multiple choice. So the first one asks, which activity takes the most time to do? So we have A, brushing your teeth, or B, mowing the lawn. So which activity takes the most time to do? In the second problem, they ask which of the following has the least value. So the least, like coin value. So A, we have 2 dimes and 3 pennies. And then B, we have 1 quarter and 1 penny. So which of the following has the least value? And the third problem, this will be more applicable when you turn 16 and you get your driver's license and learn how to drive a vehicle. How fast should a car travel on the interstate? A, 35 miles per hour, B, 40 miles per hour, C, 65 miles per hour, or D, 100 miles per hour. How fast should a car travel on the interstate? So the interstate's kind of where, cars can travel, from one city to another and get there a lot faster than they can just on regular roads. So kind of think about that when you're answering this question. And so feel free to pause the video and work on these 3 problems and rewind if you need to go and just check over how to compare objects. And then we will go over the answers to these problems. Okay, so let's go over the answers to these 3 problems. We have which activity takes the most time to do? We have either A, brushing your teeth, or B, mowing the lawn. So, pretty much, everybody has brushed their teeth before, and that probably takes about, a couple minutes, 2 or 3 minutes. Depending on how thorough you are with brushing your teeth. And then mowing the lawn would probably take a little bit longer, depending on how big or small, your yard is that you want to when you want to cut the grass. So this would probably take maybe 1 to 2 hours on average. So you might have not, cut the grass before or mowed the lawn with a lawnmower, or maybe you have. I personally did not learn how to mow the lawn until maybe I was in 3rd or 4th grade. So since you're in 2nd grade, you may have not done this before, but maybe you've seen your parents do it. But you can see here when we're comparing these 2 things that brushing your teeth definitely takes a lot less time than mowing the lawn because even if you have a small yard, it definitely takes more than a few minutes to do, maybe at least 20 to 30 minutes minimum. So the activity that takes the most time to do would be mowing the lawn. So the answer is B. Okay, so let's move on to the second problem. It asks, which of the following has the least value? Which of the following has the least value? And so we have A, 2 dimes, 3 pennies, or B, 1 quarter, 1 penny. So at first, we would kind of think, we got two dimes, 3 pennies, we got 5 coins here. Five coins here total, and 1 quarter, 1 penny, so we have 2 coins here. So you kind of think maybe at first, that the 1 quarter and 1 penny would be the least value because you have 2 coins here, which is less than 5 coins. But and that's true that we have less coins over here for 1 quarter and 1 penny than we do with 2 dimes and 3 pennies. 5 coins there. But we want to count the actual value, count the amount of change. And whichever has the less number of cents will have the least value. So we know with 2 dimes, we know that a dime is 10 cents. So if we have 2 dimes, we add those together. 10 plus 10 is 20, so we have 20 cents. And then if we have 3 pennies added to that, we have 20 cents plus 3 cents will give us your 23 cents. So that's how much we have with 2 dimes and 3 pennies, 23 cents. And then with 1 quarter and 1 penny, we know that 1 quarter is 25 cents. And we know 1 penny is 1 cent. So we have 25 plus 1 is 26 cents total for 1 quarter and 1 penny. So now you can compare, right? You have 23 cents with 2 dimes and 3 pennies, and 26 cents with 1 quarter and 1 penny. And you see that the 2 dimes and 3 pennies have the least value, because 23 is smaller than 26. Okay, last but not least, let's look at the third problem. It asks us, how fast should a car travel on the interstate? This is where the cars, travel a lot faster to get from one city to another, or maybe from one state to another. That's interstate, meaning, one state to another. Or we can think of it as entering a new state. Then we look at these choices. We look at A, we have 35 miles per hour, B, 40 miles per hour. If we look at these first two choices, we think, well, this is kind of slow, right? Maybe these two speeds here would be appropriate for driving in the city. Maybe 35 miles per hour would be like in a residential area, and then 40 miles per hour maybe on a county road, or a road in your town. But then if we take a look at the last two choices, we have 65 miles per hour and 100 miles per hour. So sometimes, you'll see these signs on the interstate and they'll tell you the speed limit. And the speed limit for most of the time on the interstate is around 65, maybe 70 miles per hour, depending on where you are. So 65 would sound about right, and 100 miles per hour would actually be going over the speed limit. So you would definitely be speeding, and a police officer will pull you over to give you a speeding ticket if you travel that speed. So don't drive 100 miles per hour on the interstate. That's too fast. So I think the speed the car should travel would be 65 miles per hour. So I know that you probably never driven a car before. Since you're in second grade, but this is definitely a good thing to know when you get older and you get your driver's license and your own vehicle, to know how fast you should be driving for different roads. And you'll also have to take a driving test as well. Okay, so let's check the answers here. We have B, A, and C. I think that's were the ones that we matched up. B, A, C. Yep, so we are good. We are lined up our answers with the answer key. So if you got all of the answers right for this lesson, that's a great job. You understand how to compare two different objects with measurements, and how to determine appropriate measurement for a given situation or object. This is Ben McGahee, and I want to thank you for watching this video on comparing and determining measurements. Please stay tuned for more lessons on YamieChess.com. Have a great day.